Good evening, everyone. It's the Activated One, New Brighton, the Futuritarian, breaking down why you got a mask on your face. Now, this is the real reason why you got a mask on your face. You got a mask on your face because it's a global test. The global test. It's a global test that's happening for the real viruses and bacteria that's going to be unlocked in the future. Now, you're dealing with these polar caps, the North Pole, also the South Pole, and dealing with Greenland. Now, stuff that's been frozen there for millions and millions of years, it will be unlocked. It will be activated. So when it gets activated, what's in there? You have ancient bacteria, ancient viruses, ancient different types of species that's been frozen in time. Literally frozen in time. So when a planetary shifts come, because when you're dealing with the magnetism with the sun and the axle, it can shift. So when it shifts, other places will be frozen. From the axle point of where the sun, aka the corona, projects down on the planet and keeps certain areas on the planet warm enough to not go into an ice age. Let me give you an example. I live in Minnesota, so they call it the land of the 10,000 lakes, even though there's more than 10,000 lakes. So when the axle had shift that time, it frozen. I'm not 100% sure where it frozen to, but it frozen down enough. So when it melted, that's how all the lakes were formed in Minnesota, because the northern polar caps had frozen down far enough. They call it the ice age. They call it the ice age. And when that melted, then you got all these lakes here, these freshwater lakes in Minnesota. So when another planetary shift comes, I'm not even going to say planetary shift, another axle shift. When another axle shift comes, then stuff is going to start. It shifts slowly. So stuff is going to start melting from the polar caps. So when the polar cap starts releasing these new bacteria and viruses that are going to be projected into the air, who will survive that? Because your DNA, if your DNA doesn't go back to when they got locked and frozen in time, because that lets you know if they got locked and frozen in time, that your ancestors from that time obviously got immune to them because they survived. So now you're dealing with people on the planet right now that their DNA doesn't go back that far. It doesn't go back all the way that far. So you're wearing this mask and this global pandemic, which is the coronavirus, which corona just means sun. So basically calling the sun a virus. That's what the coronavirus is. It's the sun being projected down. The magnetism is getting more turned up. So when these ice caps melt, there's going to be new bacteria. There's going to be new viruses. They already been digging and pulling up these bacteria and viruses. But when you're dealing with something that huge, you can't pull it all up. You can't pull all that stuff up. So they already know some of the bacteria and viruses that's going to be released to the air. And if your junk DNA is not activated and your mental and your magnetism in your body is not on point, then you'll be you will get manipulated by these new bacteria and these new viruses that's going to be out. So this is a test run. This is a test run from when the polar caps melt, because they gonna melt. They're melting right now. You're gonna have not new, but stuff that was already here back in the ancient days is going to be unlocked. It's going to be activated. It's going to be activated. And some of the stuff that's frozen, you're dealing with these viruses and bacteria. It could be frozen for millions of years, millions and millions of years, and as soon as the sun hit it, what does the sun do? The sun activates them. They become back alive. They become back in motion, where they can move in motion. That's why they call it the coronavirus. The coronavirus, it's the sun. The sun's beaming down because what they're doing is they're calling the sun a virus. For some people, it is a virus. It can be a virus to some people on the planet. Other ones on the planet ain't worried about the sun. That's why when these polar caps melt, and if you look at the square footage, the mileage of the square footage of these ice caps, they're huge. You can't dig all that stuff up. You just got to let it play out and let it happen. So that's the real reason why you got a mask on your face. It's a test from the polar caps. That's what that is. It's a polar cap test. Because when everything in the polar caps, when all that stuff melts and it gets released, who's going to be immune to it and who's not? That's why it's called the coronavirus. You think they called it the coronavirus just because? No, it's codes. The coronavirus, the polar caps, they're going to melt. And then another part of the world will be frozen. Which part's going to be frozen? I don't know. I don't know. But see, walking around with these masks on, it's all a test. It's all a test because once these bacteria and viruses get released into the air, then that's when you're going to see the real pandemic, because it's going to be a real virus going around, something that they didn't find, because they're still digging up there. They're still putting the cones into the snow and pulling them up to see what they can find, to see what bacteria, viruses, organisms, different plant life, different animals, stuff that have been frozen in time. They've been froze. They're being preserved for a planetary shift. They're being preserved. When you go to your refrigerator and you get some chicken, and you done bought 30 pounds of chicken, what are you going to do? You're going to separate your chicken. You're going to put some in the refrigerator, in the freezer for later. You're going to keep some out, and you're going to preserve that and lock that for later, so it serves a purpose for later. Same as the polar caps. They serve a purpose for later in evolution. Because you can't stop evolution. People on this planet, they're trying to stop the mental evolution of certain ones on this planet, and it's not going to happen. Evolution is going to happen because this played out into the future. So when these polar caps melt, you're going to start see new viruses out, new bacteria, new species of animals. You're already seeing the new species of animals out here. You go outside, you be walking through a park. You might be with your husband or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And then what is that? I've never seen that before, because it's evolution. It's the sign of evolution. You can't stop evolution. Revolution, you can stop revolution, but you can't stop evolution. That's why I said in my last post, not my last post, I said in a post a couple of months ago, evolution over revolution. Mind over guns. The magnetism. The coronavirus. That's why you got a mask on your face. It's a test run. It's a global test run. They had to do it. Everything's going global. Everything's going global. It's a global test run. You have to do tests to see when these polar caps melt and the real outbreak comes, where some of these old viruses that's going to be released into the air, you're going to be able to see them on people. You're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to see the viruses, skin-eating viruses. And then if your magnetism, because your body's just like the earth, your magnetism has to be strong. Just like they got the aura shield or the aura field around the earth, you got to build yours up. You got to build yours up to a point, and it starts with your mind. Everything is going to be mental. That's where the electricity comes from. You got to build up your aura shield, because these caps is going to melt. They're going to melt. That's why you got a mask on your face, and that's why they call it the coronavirus. Because to certain people on the planet, the corona is a virus. The sun is a virus. You got real vampires out here. Literally. There's some real vampires out here doing whatever they do, avoiding. I'm gonna give you an example. I was in Minneapolis last summer, and she might have had a skin disease, or her skin might have been it was a Caucasian woman, very pale. She might have had a skin disease. I'm not saying that she didn't have some type of disease that was messing with her skin where she could, but she was walking around with this umbrella, and it was hot outside. It was like 90 degrees out. I'll never forget this day. It was like 90 degrees outside, and she had an umbrella, and I'm sitting there looking at her, because at this time my vehicle had broke down. So I'm at the bus stop. I'm looking at her, I'm like, I said, man, you don't know where any. When they say you don't know nobody, you really don't know nobody, man. You don't know where these people came from, or I don't know where that person came from. She could have literally came from underground. She literally could have came from underground. The vampires. There's people out here literally drinking blood. Literally don't like the sun. And I was talking to this one so-called white woman, and she had said, we was having a conversation, she had said, the sun's my enemy. I'm like, why is the sun your enemy? If the sun stops projecting rays down on this planet will be dead in 6 months. So how is it your enemy? The reason why she has said that, because she knows in the future it is going to be her enemy. That's why she said that. She said that for a reason. She said it because she knows in the future it will be her enemy. Vampires, that stuff's real. I'm not talking about the vampire that turns into a bat, flies away. I'm talking about ones that they drink blood and don't like the sun. That's a vampire. That's that corona. The corona, man. The outskirts of the sun is called the corona. The coronavirus. The sun's beaming down intel every day on this planet, and it's shooting, and only certain people are going to receive it. Because we're in the future. We're the ones in the future. We're the ones that's letting you guys know what's going on the planet, so you can prepare yourself mentally. Prepare yourself mentally. You got to get your aura shield up, your aura field, to a point that, I'm gonna give you an example. This was last summer. I was pressure washing a deck, and it happened to me a couple of times. I literally seen my aura shield. Literally seen my aura shield around me. Literally. And then there's a couple of incidents. I'm gonna start telling y'all stuff that happens in my life, just to let you guys know stuff that I go through. This is right. Another situation was right when I was activated. I got activated. I started seeing the world just like that movie, They Live. You go look at that movie, They Live. I started to see the world in a different lens than everybody else did. And it was that same day, my mind was like I don't know, it's hard to explain. My mind was just not here. So this is the first animal I encountered. The first animal I encountered. This one I was still last year because I was still working a delivery service job at this point. I was still working. I was delivering furniture. We had pulled up in the alley. This dog pulled up. This lady and this dog were walking her dog through the alley. This is the same day. This is the same day I was activated. Give me one sec, y'all. Sorry about that. This always happens on my videos because I get in the zone. So the same day. Give me one sec. Yeah, I'm always in the zone, so all this stuff. All right. So the same day when I saw, okay, we was in the alley. We had pulled up. The lady was walking her dog. The dog, literally, I looked at the dog. The dog literally stopped in his tracks. And it wasn't like, the dog didn't stop in his tracks and was like intimidated by me. It was like I had him under hypnosis. I literally had that dog under my command. This is real. The dog was under my command. I looked at the dog and the dog just stopped. The lady was looking at the dog and looking at me at the same time like, why is the dog? And she was trying to yank the dog. The dog was literally frozen like a statue, just staring at me. Not mean, not aggressive, but it was like a sense that the dog was under my command instantly at that point. The mental connection. Your mind's connected to the whole universe, connected to all these animals on the planet. That's when I told people the avatar is real too. Avatar is real too. And I had some cat on the internet. You know, you always got to deal with these cats, man. That's just how it is. And he's like, man, a lot of these cats that's doing these videos, they think these movies is real, this and that. It's like, man, because they're not seeing the planet on the aspect that you will see it on in the future if you get activated. If you're activated, you see things. Even when you're dealing with certain people, you see their agenda. Even they got like all these organizations, they've been infiltrated. All of them been infiltrated. All these organizations got agents in them. I saw that. All these organizations been infiltrated. You see? So when you're activated, you start to see stuff and your mind starts to move faster. It starts to move at a faster level than anything else your mind starts to move. When you're dealing with intel, you're dealing with intelligence, not smart. Because people that are smart on the planet, smart people, they can handle a lot of stuff. They know about education, politics, this and that. They know about that. They're smart. They're intelligent. The real intelligent ones, they can see through the smartness. They'll see your lens. They'll see your agenda. It only takes, when I talk to somebody, takes me probably 1 minute, about 1 minute, and from the frequencies and the tones that they talk to me in, and the certain things that they say, I can already see what they can possibly do in the future. Already see it. So when that dog stood still, it was under hypnosis. I had the dog in my command. She couldn't even move the dog no more. The dog wouldn't even listen to her. At this point. It happened for about about 30 seconds. She couldn't even move her dog. Dog was staring at me, was stuck, because that's your aura shield. That's the magnetism, the electricity that you have around you. But back to these polar caps. These polar caps is going to melt. They're going to shoot out that bacteria. They're going to shoot out the new virus. They're going to go airborne, and they're going to get activated. You think that they don't know this? That's why you got a mask on your face. The coronavirus. I'm not even going to say if it's real or not. It don't even matter, because the real corona is the sun. That's the virus. That's what they're calling it, the coronavirus. They're calling the sun the virus. And you walking around with a mask on your face. The reason why I walk around with a mask on my face, because I go into these stores. I don't want nobody telling me to put a mask on my face. I already got it on. Don't tell me nothing what to do. Just once you're activated, you can see everybody's agenda. You can see what people are on. I don't care what level you on. You at the top, you in the middle, or you at the bottom. We already can see through you. We already can see through you. So that's the coronavirus. The coronavirus, the virus is the sun. It's the activated one. New bright and good night.